It is my pleasure to welcome one of the eminent movement disorders academic neurologist from South Australia, Professor Thomas Kimber, fondly known as Tom by his colleagues the all over Australia, New Zealand, and Asia-Oceania region. Is a movement disorders neurologist as well as the current president of Australia New Zealand Movement Disorders Society. Tom, very good day to you.
Hello, Tissa. Nice to see you.
So my first question to you, tell us about your childhood. When did you decide that you would want to do medicine?
Well, actually, probably not in my childhood. I crystallized my intention to do medicine very late in my high school years. And I must say, I'd like to tell you in one respect that I had a childhood ambition to be a doctor, but I came from a medical family, and that was influential, I think, in encouraging me to do medicine. But it was really only several years into medical school, once I started the more clinical side of medical school, interacting with patients, that I really felt switched on to medicine and felt comfortable that this was definitely where I belonged. And I've certainly got no regrets.
At what point in your training you thought that you would be interested in brain and neurology? And what's the reason? What switched you to be interested in brain, mind, and movement?
Yes, well, again, it came to me probably somewhat later than for many people. I knew through physician training that I wanted to enter a branch of medicine that was patient-centered, predominantly consultative and holistic, if you like. But I did consider general medicine. I did consider medical oncology. But I really, again, got switched on to neurology by working as a physician trainee in the neurology department at the Royal Adelaide Hospital. There was, at that time, I won't share with you quite how long ago it was. You can rest assured it was some considerable time ago. At that time, and still today, the neurology department had a clinical case presentation on a Friday afternoon. And I was always impressed at the very thorough and systematic approach that the neurologists brought to bear on presenting patients, in eliciting the history and the key physical examination findings in that meeting, and the marriage of history and examination that led to differential diagnosis, and management. And it felt to me that that sort of very holistic form of practice would suit me. I was also very attracted to the intellectual challenge of neurology. It is very intellectually challenging, and it remains intellectually challenging no matter how long you practice it. And that appealed to me very much. And I've got to say that mentorship was a huge influence as well. The neurologists with whom I worked, and in particular my main mentor, Professor Philip Thompson, very much encouraged me to think of neurology as my specialty of choice and find my niche within it. And as I say, I've had no regrets. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
I remember watching Professor Philip Thompson performing an EMG study and a nerve conduction study during my time at Royal Adelaide Hospital years ago. And the way that he approached that patient and the way that he elicited some of the reflexes and the way that he performed that EMG is still, I regard, as one of the best experiences that I had throughout my career. So I could agree what a brilliant mentor he would have been to you. So obviously it looks like I think Louis Kaplan once said that neurology is the pain of internal medicine. I mean, we are both biased being neurologists. We are both biased being academic neurologists. We are both probably biased being mentored by more or less the same person at some stage of our careers. So that was a spark for you to be interested in movement disorders. When did you get involved with Movement Disorder Society Australia and Movement Disorder Society?
Yes, so very early on. So I took a slightly unusual approach to my PhD in that I did a PhD under the supervision of Dr. Brian Brophy and Professor Philip Thompson midway through my advanced training in neurology at the University of Adelaide. And the experience of that PhD, which was in the field of Parkinson's disease, brought me into the fold, if you like, of both the, as it then was, Movement Disorder Society of Australia, now incorporating our New Zealand colleagues in the MDSANZ, and that brought me also into the fold of the International Movement Disorders Society to, I guess, have an opportunity to present my work and also benefit from the wonderful teaching and educational opportunities of those two societies. So it was really again mentorship of Philip Thompson and the experience doing the PhD in the field of Parkinson's disease that really introduced me to those two societies.
And the changing topic a little bit, you are happily married with children, and tell us what's the best thing that you enjoy outside medicine and neurology when you have any spare time at all?
Yes, well, thanks for the question. There is a life outside of medicine, and for me, family is where I devote most of my time outside of my work. I have 2 adult children and 1 child in year 12. So there's a level of independence that the children have now that wasn't so much the case in years gone by, but we still really enjoy spending time with one another, and the wider family, the more extended family, is a big part of my downtime. I enjoy gardening. I find that good for my mental health. I enjoy physical exercise, and I guess I enjoy reading and movies, and I enjoy watching TV. In fact, I watch TV probably more than I should as a way of relaxing in the evening. And yeah, it's pretty much how I spend my downtime.
So my last question is what is your message to aspiring doctors or people who wanted to get into medicine, or those doctors who are contemplating a career in neurology or movement disorders? What is your advice to them wherever they are, that they're watching this from wherever in the world?
Sure. I think a career in neurology suits someone who is curious. I think a curiosity about the patient's experience, getting to know the patient, getting to understand the illness within the context of the patient's life, and a curiosity about the history and what it tells us about the underlying likely diagnoses is key to the good clinical neurologist. So if I would encourage someone interested in delving into the depths of the patient's experience and curiosity about that experience as being really good attributes for the neurologist. I think I would also encourage someone to do neurology if they're interested in a specialty that is never quite the same on any 2 days in a row. You're never quite sure what's going to walk through the door or what the patient's experience will be as you approach the patient's bedside. There's no 2 patients quite the same or 2 patient experiences quite the same. And beyond that, the enormous development in understanding of neurological conditions and of the therapies for those conditions that has occurred since I've been practicing neurology in the last 20 plus years has been enormous. And it just makes practicing neurology more and more stimulating and more rewarding and more exciting in terms of what the future may hold for our opportunities to improve our patients' lives from future developments. So I would, to summarize, I guess, recommend neurology and recommend movement disorders for the curious physician who wishes to be continually engaged and interested in what their job has to offer year upon year. I think we rarely find a neurologist who's bored or finds their work tedious. And I think that reflects the fact that neurology tends to be constantly intellectually engaging. And I think if you're interested in a long career of being engaged in what you do, then I would recommend this specialty and this subspecialty as being potentially right for you.
Thank you very much. Again, thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you all the very best and good luck with all your plans at NDSA department. And as you very correctly said, as a simple person enjoying simple pleasures of life, like any other human beings do. Thanks again for your time, and we'll catch up with you sometime.
Thank you very much, Tissa, and thanks for the invitation to have a chat.